Are we live? Perfect. So, welcome everyone. Today starts ETHTurin. It's a hackathon and conference. It's the first hackathon and conference for the Ethereum community from virtually from Italy, from Turin, former capital of Italy, for those of you who don't know. And it's a hackathon I was mentioning also, and it's a particular kind of hackathon because we are focusing more on local impact MVPs and proof of concepts, and also coding, of course, on Ethereum blockchain, but also on everything that has a direct use case on sustainability issues and communities, grassroots movements adoption. So before kicking in with the overall description of the hackathon and where to direct hackers, etc., I would like to, first of all, introduce my partners in crime, those who actually help each other make this possible. And I'm talking about Fanny, Lakoubay from New York,
Hi.
4 a.m. So thank you. And Giovanni di Lauro from Salerno. It's
Hi
from Penisola
everybody, guys.
Sorrentina.
Yeah, no,
And
little
Leon is
souther.
little souther. Leon is I think is on duty on the Discord channel, and of course
It's forbidden to join. He's on Discord task.
Yes. And of course the biggest thank you goes to Kai, Michael, Daniel, and the Interspace.chat team who made the conference possible, and not just ours, but also a whole series of conferences and hackathons that ran through the last couple of months, and they just tackled these opportunities in a marvelous way, and they just hit the point with amazing professionality. Do you say professionality in English? Sorry, my English is going a bit crap recently. It's the coronavirus, you know.
And I don't think anybody cares in that call.
Okay.
Just use professionalität in German and it'll be right.
European spaghetti English.
Correct. We would also like to start by thanking all our patronages and partners, media partners, and sponsors. So Fanny, do you want to go through them quickly?
Sure. Yeah, so we had a lot of support before and after actually having to go virtual. So I think that shows a lot about the Ethereum community, and so I'll start there, like with of course Matteo mentioned Interspace. We also are lucky to have Minbase provide the NFT tickets. That will allow everybody to vote at the end of the hackathon, and we'll go into that in more details with Giovanni, but this is going to be like the NFT holders who are going to be able to vote for the hackathon winner. And the voting system is going to be quadratic voting, and this is first time Diora Earth, another partner, implemented it. So very thankful to have worked with the Diora Earth team. Yeah, there are a bunch of other actors in the Ethereum community. So there's the Ethereum Foundation, Ethereum Italia. Thank you guys. I think you are on the call already, bright and early, and Jacopo is gonna talk at 11 as well about the amazing Ethereum community in Italy. You're welcome. Yeah, and we also talked a lot with other actors who are trying to do the same thing and are definitely talking with Michael and Kai from Interspace, so East Global, for example, and a lot of other hackathons, definitely cooperating, which is quite a beauty, if you ask me, compared to other industries. So that was great. And let's not forget that we were supposed to all be in Torino right now, which would have been awesome for me as well to travel there. But we still kept like a lot of very strong local partners from the Politecnico University and University di Torino, and a few other media partners, Torino, like I think it's ID Top IX and Torino Wireless, Nesta Italy, like etc. etc. So that's a very strong support that we received. So very much like thank you to all of you guys. And I mean, it's a community event for the community. So and it's a little random, like Matteo, you said, like I'm in Brooklyn. I'm actually in Brooklyn. It's 4 a.m. right now and dark, but it's I'm from France, so the local aspect and the ESG point is not lost to me. So thanks for being here, and stay put on that. We're gonna, I think, now go through a little bit of maybe I'll give it back to Matteo to introduce a little bit, or maybe even Michael, like if you want to introduce a little bit like the Interspace portal, and then we'll go a little bit through the agenda and the hackathon, how it works, so you guys are all set for this weekend.
Michael, you want to go?
Yeah, I can do that. So first thing I'd like to say is shout out to Professor ETH, Roberto. Actually, Interspace was born at Liminal Village in Italy when Kai was down there. So godfather of virtual spaces, persistent Jitsi rooms. And that was then picked up for Intercon and moved on to non-con, and now ETHTurin, and then we'll be moving on to Solidity Summit after ETHTurin next week, and a whole bunch of things. So thanks a lot for getting that started, Professor ETH. So I'll share my screen now to show you guys a little bit about what it is that we've built. Here, what's unique about Interspace. So in the interface, I've got currently the conference room open, and if you click on the watch live stream on YouTube button, then we get a pop-up, and all of the windows are draggable and fluidly resizable so that you can scale your experience here based on your screen resolution or your needs. Each one of the rooms, so there's 2 rooms for the chat, the mentoring and the conference room chat, have a Discord channel, which also comes up in a pop-up. So we can do our question answering and interactions there in Discord. And when you switch the rooms, then it switches the live streams as well. In this interface item are direct links to the live streams on YouTube. And then also there's the schedule, which is available here directly, calls up from the ETHTurin website, the schedule, so you know exactly where you are, when you are, and what you are. Also, what's cool is that we have POPE integration, proof of attendance protocol tokens from Patricio and team. There you get a pop-up here that asks which role you played, and then that will open as well the Claim Pope token Discord channel, and you just post your address where you want to have that delivered to. And there's also a direct link to Discord chat. If you guys notice in the pop-up, there's also a menu which allows you to choose any of the channels directly. So it's kind of like a multifunctional interface. Over here on this side, under help, if you want to have a fuller explanation of all of the things to do, if you're having any troubles, then there's a help window here for how to navigate the Interspace. Credits here, we want to give a shout out to Lilyaska, the awesome graphic artist who did ETH Berlin and has also done ETHTurin and also did iterations of the ETH Foundation website. Thanks so much for this awesomely cool interface. It looks so colorful and great. And then also, there's a sitemap in the sidebar as well if you don't want to navigate with the visuals. Yeah, and that's basically it. Oh yeah, one more thing. There's a theme switcher. So down here in the corner, there's a little light bulb, and you can switch the theme to light if you like to have bright light.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. So I would like to remind you all once more to have a look at the agenda either on ETHTurin, Interspace.chat or ETHTurin.com/agenda. There's we are quite proud of what we put up. I think that it's right on the point, and we have talks about almost any kind of issues that is defining the Ethereum adoption roadmap. So we have, for example, a very interesting panel today about governments and local public administration reception with four different representatives from governmental agencies, Poland, Germany, and Italy, talking about how these countries made it to, integrate, and local administrations as well. They managed to integrate token models and Ethereum blockchain with, namely, their administration processes. We have also post-COVID-19 talk later in the afternoon. And of course, it's very important, the first talk that will kick off, the first mentoring slot that will kick off the mentor room today is an overview over the Ethereum Italia community held by Leonardo and Jacopo. I would like to move now to a bit more of the technical side of the hackathon. So maybe I can pass the word.
Do you want me to go through before we go to the technical side? Like, I can share my screen on the agenda just to explain a bit more, like the time frame, like
Sure.
the timing between the agenda and the let me do this. 1 second. Share. There we go. Can you see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so I just wanted to first mention what Matteo said. Everything is on the website for the main conference room. So there are gonna be talks and panels from 10 to pretty much 7 p.m. Tonight. So that's a full day. And then on top of that, there's a mentoring here that is with like very much more hands-on workshops with amazing people. If you ask me, I'm very excited about the workshops. That said, it doesn't prevent you from being, asking questions and speaking in the main conference room, because nobody likes dead room. So you have the program for Friday and Saturday. So it's 2 days full of cool, very cool talks. And then at the bottom, we also added the hacking schedule. So we're starting this morning. I told you about the workshops and the talks. And then tonight, there's also at 6 p.m. So the last talk that is in the conference room is going to be the opening of a special exhibition in the Crypto Voxels 3D world of Italian crypto art. So it's more of a retrospective than like a sales event. Like I don't think most NFTs, like art NFTs, cannot be purchased, but it's to show what has been done. And it's organized by an Italian curator and HACKATHON with an artist based in Italy as well. And so they're gonna explain that, go through Crypto Voxels if you're not familiar with it. And then the exhibition is gonna be open the entire weekend. So you can, go access it through Interspace and then go around in Crypto Voxels. This is gonna be open. And then it all ends at Sunday night, and for the more technical part of the hackathon, I think I'm gonna leave Giovanni take over. So.
Yes, hi, thank you. I just wanted to go over the fact that we are using Discord for team building as well. So people that do not have yet a team, we are using Discord as kind of like routing together all people with an idea. And also on Discord, you can find mentors on the sidebar for asking questions, and we would like to help you. So let's use Discord. And at the end of the hackathon, you will receive a form to complete for the submission of the project. And then we will set up the voting system that will be, as Matteo said, quadratically, thanks to Diora that implemented a very nice app to have. Thank you, guys. And the Discord, I hope that everybody here has the invitation for the Discord of the ETHTurin.
Do you want to share your screen and go through the structure of Discord to maybe go through the tracks and the bounties if anybody is confused? I mean, it's very
sure.
clear, but you should not be confused.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I give you an entire screen. Hope there is nothing bad around. Yes, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. As you said, yes, the main structure is the one of the general channel that we have here, and as you can see on the left, we have the main tracks divided in channels with descriptions and team building room. So you will see for all the bounties, like the Diora bounties, the Ethereum bounty, you will see that we have a description channel like here for Diora, and with all the information about the bounties. And then you will find a team building room for people that want to work on the bounties, but they do not have yet a team. As you can see from the channels, I think that 2 teams are already on, like here, that they got together using the team building channel. So that's what I asked to you to do this morning. That is to find peers to work with, just to make the hackathon more enjoyable and socially connected. I'm very sad that we can't do this in a real space in Turin. There will be one day where we could. So yeah, basically this is the main structure of the Discord, and you will find all the information about the bounties.
Perfect. Thank you, Giovanni. I also saw that there might be Johann from Diora somewhere attending right now the chat. Johann, send us a signal. Are you there?
Yeah, here I'm not set up. I have to.
So I would love, Johann is the representative today of Theora.earth, our partner, who hugely contributed to bounties. First of all, they are a bounty issuer. They have their own bounty track that maybe Johann can quickly describe, and also this amazing tool that we are a bit bragging about, which is the first quadratic voting and NFT sort of integration that we hope will be used also for future events, etc. Johann, it's your turn.
Yeah, hold on, let me close the window, then you can hear me
Yes.
better, and then I will do it.
Yes.
Theora has set up a track, and we kind of wanna, put the perspective beyond Corona and kind of see how does this new reality look like, and what can we kind of do when we rebuild the world to kind of be more sustainable and local. And for that, we've set up a track where basically communities or organizations can share processes and practices that help them to, bring themselves to work as a whole. So not come to work with an ego and try to achieve something or something like that, but come as a person. And there is a platform to kind of show these processes that is called teal.garden. And our track basically consists of the offer that you can connect any open source or Web3 tools together into a process that kind of helps your organization, and just document that process. So it means kind of putting in requirements. So which values does an organization kind of need to have to be able to adopt this process, and which steps, human steps, but also technical steps are needed to make it. And there is bounties worth, I don't know what the bounty sizes are, but there's kind of 3 steps for winners. And then to the voting, which is a totally different thing. Maybe I can share my screen, is that cool? I'll just do it, I won't ask you guys. So if you guys
have full power, go ahead.
If you guys want to go to vote.ETHTurin.com, you will find the voting app. It's a burner wallet, and it will have all the submissions listed here. And at the beginning, when you join, you will have 0 voice credits. The voice credits are basically the currency that you use to kind of put votes on different submissions. And it's in a quadratic principle. So if you go on a submission and you want to vote, if you want to put 1 vote, let me do that here, you pay 1 voice credit. But if you want to say this is a super awesome project and should receive 2 votes, then you can put 4 voice credits. And of course, wow, this UI is... and of course, you can, let me see, what's the maximum you can invest? Probably, if you want to put all your voice credits, you will receive 100 on 1 submission because you think it's the best. Then it will get 10 votes from you. And the idea of quadratic voting is kind of to balance the strong preferences of minorities against the weak preferences of the majorities, to kind of prevent the tyranny of the majority. And in that sense, we have a, a less binary democratic signal. So we don't, at the end, we don't only have a ranking, and we don't only have a yes or no for the winners, but we kind of can also look inside and see if they had like very strong supporters or something like that. Cool. And because you won't have any voice credits at the beginning, I ask you to go to the faucet, which is on vote.ETHTurin/faucet. And there you will need to sign a message with your Web3 provider, with your MetaMask, which holds your attendance tokens. And then you get this nice QR code that you scan, for example, with your phone, or you open the link in a browser that is non-Web3 enabled, because it only works if you don't have a MetaMask. It's a different account. And then you can execute the vote, as I've just shown you. Cool. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Johann. We remind you that Johann, Theora, and Giovanni Di Lauro, who's the Italian representative of Radical Exchange, will have talk, I guess, later today at 1 o'clock Central
1
European.
p.m.
Yeah,
So
1
it's
p.m.
for those of you who are interested about knowing more about what quadratic voting is and what Radical Exchange is all about. It's a very interesting talk. I think that the quadratic, I mean, when I first understood completely not completely, like I still have like 15% of to understand in quadratic funding, etc. But I totally saw a first glimpse of solution to what Johann called the tyranny of the majority, but in general, an implementation to what is the universal suffrage system, so the one person, one vote system, which is causing so many dystopian political scenarios today. Talking about which, I would love to open a small frame, as we still have like 20 minutes, but of course we can also finish before. Talking about
also before you do, Matteo, can we Johann, can we actually notice that we're actually coordinated? We're dressed exactly the same.
Yeah, right. Wait, Johann, is that the ETHTurin 2 t-shirt?
It's Berlin.
If Berlin, sorry.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Cryptocurrency that I don't own.
So we also decided, because it's a virtual event and it's like we can do better in terms of virtual swag as well, but that we would wear swag from like other events. And story behind the East Berlin 2 t-shirt is that this is where Matteo and I met, and we had the idea of ETHTurin. So it's not random that it's a East Berlin connection, and also with Michael, who was so much involved in East Berlin. So all right, I'll let you speak about serious things, Matteo.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to go over quickly over why are we focusing on SDG or ESG goals, which are basically goals of development and sustainability and governance as well. So there is a lot of talk about these SDG recently, especially as we are having the impact of we're seeing the results of our political and social and consumer. Are you seeing my share screen?
Yeah, can you also say what SDG means for people that are not familiar with the
sure.
With the acronym?
So there are 2 denominations, which is mostly one for governmental spectrum and one for startup and finance spectrum. So SDG means Sustainability Development Goals, and they are the 17 goals issued by the UN in 2015, while the ESG are environment, social, and governance. So that's more of a title that you go to certain funds or startups, etc. So it's the same thing, but just for 2 different environments. So basically, this is my old presentation that I keep reusing over and over again until it gets like too old. And okay, so the first thing that we basically try to address with ETHTurin is a different kind of vision in the Ethereum dApps and projects use case and adoption MVP, meaning that we always like I think I'm a linguist by trade, so I pay a lot of attention of what terms and acronyms are used in a given community. And I've heard talking a lot about mass adoption. Like mass adoption is somehow the key that people are focusing into the crypto environment. But to some extent, people are forgetting about that there is also local adoption, which has definitely more pros as it's providing valuable test lab communities that from their end provide useful KPIs, which are key performance indicators. So somehow it's about creating a feedback cycle between those who are labeled as crypto nomads and those who are basically crypto dwellers. Also, local communities are smaller numbers that have a high interaction rates, and then can provide incremental innovation. The example I put here was the example of Airbnb. For those of you who don't know, Airbnb basically kicked off, like really, when they started sending professional photographers to a small community where the Airbnb website was picked up. Like there was a region, I guess, in Germany or Austria, where Airbnb started, like very had these first users, and they started sending professional photographers to these first hosts, and the professional photos basically gave them good MVPs to start the whole business. So it's all about like starting technically and practically, analogically, from given communities. Also, local communities connect to local public administrations, which, for those of you who don't know, public administrations can be centralized, can be national public administrations, but there are local, regional public administration, even communal public administrations. And those public administrations are as thirsty of decentralizations as many dApps and crypto project. That because they have their own local agenda, and they have certain local taxes that they have relative freedom on. And of course, they have some basic services that they provide directly without passing through the central administration. So we could say that local public administrations are somehow more flexible partners to interact with if we want to create token models that are supported by the community itself. Last but not least, these test labs that are represented by local communities provide a variety of non-monetary payoffs that can be that can fulfill a need better than crypto somehow. I mean, it's a good way to integrate crypto payoffs with non-monetary and, of course, non-crypto payoffs that can be can connect local users to local service providers. So somehow this was a bit of the visual organization that we wanted to give between, oh, my slider, it's okay. So this is something that we came up with while talking about SDG and local representation of SDG. So SDG, if you search onto the web about SDG, there's a big argument about how vague they can be and how non-addressing real problems they are. So what we came through is the importance of geolocalizing the priorities of SDG and creating cluster of matching agendas that can somehow determine local governance cluster in addressing the same SDG. For example, here, based on purely rough data, I managed to create a first cluster from between 3 different cities in central southern Europe, which is Stuttgart, Torino, the city where we are talking, and Milano. They all suffer the highest percentages of PM10 and PM2.5, which is basically pollution indexes from cars pollutions. And those they basically rate the SDG number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, as their first SDG in their local agenda. So for us, it's important to start connecting these 3 cities as cities involved into the SDG number 11. So this is just a graphically geolocalized way to start tackling communities with the same interest and priorities. We can quickly skip through a few suggestions. Of course, we have, as we mentioned before, we have bounty tracks, namely the Aura tracks, a track sponsored by VideoDAC about video decentralization in Web 3.0, and an Ethereum Foundation sponsored track. But we also, of course, have our main track, which is the most important one for us during these 3 days. And we would like to give you a few examples on how to address this track. So what we partner with is CommonsUd. CommonsUd is a project by the University of Turin that will take the stage right after this talk at 11, and they will introduce themselves better. But this is basically an Ethereum proof of authority and a system to implement crypto economics within circular economy. They have already started creating MVPs for the city of Turin, and as far as I know, they are talking with the municipality of Athens and Paris to extend the project to those communities as well. But I won't go into details. I invite you all to attend the talk right after us in 20 minutes. So this is a bit all about CommonsUd. So basically, CommonsUd, it will be one of the possible environment where you can address SDG for Torino and for other cities. We talk about our own SDG in Torino, which is basically SDGs goals about sustainable cities, as I mentioned before. So Torino has been a car representative city for the last 50 years, given that it has the headquarters of Fiat Industries. And for 50 years, basically, the city lacked an efficient public transportation or smart commuting system, given that the ruling family in the Fiat headquarters always prefer to have the city being a car-driven city and not a public transport city. So now that the family is losing power, I'm talking out of the teeth, of course. I'm just disclosing all our dirt. I mean, every city has a little bit of dirt. Come on. But now it's the time to basically flip Turin upside down and propose new token curated registries and reputational systems for smart commuting. We have a cool track about urban farming, just like Detroit, the motor city in the US. Torino is experiencing this green revolution. We are one of the first cities in Europe for the numbers of urban gardens. And there is a nice project called UFarm that you can look at on our Discord, and you can relate to the core developing team there. And it's basically a project to create an economic circuit and bounty, reward, and payment system for urban gardens who are who represent this grassroots movement and definitely need an economic circuit and I would say a token system their own. There is also a governance track to address or solve legal frameworks and legal constraints in our local administration. There will be a mentoring tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central European time, held by one of the local representative of Legal Hackers Torino. And everyone can just ask him question about how the Piedmont and Turin legal framework works in order to address this topic. We also wanted to introduce the concept of MicroDefi, and it's basically DeFi protocols aimed at solving circular economy and neighborhood economies issues. So basically what we claim is that DeFi can be easily used to allow locally staked capital, sort of customer to businesses. Something similar has been proposed, I know, in Canada, where some local bakeries and cafes are basically opening a given segment of their equities to their customers. So allowing the local community to become stakeholders of their business via decentralized protocols. Of course, we also are tackling COVID-19 and privacy mostly. The counter-pandemic measures are, of course, necessary, but there's a big talk about how far they can go in invading citizens' life and privacy, etc. There is an app in Italy right now issued and approved by the government, which is called Immuni. And there are many rumors about how far this app can go, etc. And right now the government is, of course, talking about non-compulsory apps. But of course, we all know how fast this can change if the numbers change in the contamination rates. So it's also good to, propose viable alternatives that can respect citizens' privacy while addressing the pandemic problem. For those of you who haven't done it yet, I think we are still up for 30 minutes, 1 hour for like late registrations. And that's it. I would say I can just stop sharing my screen. And back.
Thanks. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things,
it's a small barbecue.
And put
It's a small barbecue, and we just put a lot of meat on top. Sorry.
Well, it's also, I feel like this is sometimes we all live in a bucket, it's like we're very into the crypto crowd, and there's really just crypto talks about protocols, about like things that are very important, but also like not necessarily linked to like real life or local issues, as Matteo mentioned. So I'm very excited about this connection, and I wanted to add something like on top of these very important goals. I think one goal of ETHTurin was also to make a point and make a proof of concept for smaller more local hackathons, and because there's, I mean, now it's everything is global, right? But it's even more when you go virtual. I think we all can agree that like there's all these global events, and they're like, well, it's if it's for everybody, it's not for, you know, anybody pretty much. So so I think if even now with like when we go virtual, it's important to focus on local issues and how we can implement something at a more human level. And you see all these like social media apps that now are, you know, like the neighborhood apps or like the Nextdoor app. It's really refocusing on communities and neighborhoods, and it's great because honestly when you look at the UN goal, like development goals, they're all super general, and it's like going from global goals like, oh yeah, sure, we're going to solve like, you know, the pollution issue, and you're like, okay, well, I have no freaking clue how to even start doing that. But when you go from the local level, it's really where you can see like specific things to do. And honestly, I think don't quote me on that, but there is no local goals on this SDG like project. We should even add like one, like 18th goal, that would be like a local impact one. So yeah, and so again, it's a proof of concept. So it's also like, you know, smaller cities and universities like don't necessarily have access, and we were always going to have the big ones, the big hackathons like East New York and East Berlin event, but also like going to smaller cities like secondary cities. It's something important. Working with local universities, like cities actually are very excited to have like these types of event happening, because you know, most of the time, and I'm speaking for France and Italy, like there's not much done at like the like state level. So it's like cities are like very much more active actually to make these types of event happen. So so give us your feedback, and you know, like let's talk, and let's do this. And Matteo has something to say. You don't have to message me to like say that you have something to say. Like, shut up, I have something to say. Okay, fine. Fine.
I didn't have my third espresso. So no, just seriously, on an ending note. So for all hackers, the deadline, basically we start now. Some of you already started last night. I know, it's totally fine. The deadline for submission is Sunday at 8 p.m. We will provide you a form where you can fill all the necessary information for your submission. Giovanni will do it on Discord. And talking about submission, we, of course, give the priority to implemented codes, etc. So working demos, etc. But we accept also proof of concepts and white papers. So if it makes sense, don't restrain yourself from submitting. So it's not. We want to, you know, allow also the non-purely developers to propose valid ideas. Okay. And something more. So after the submission at 8 p.m. Sunday, of course, Central European time, the voting process will start, which will last, I guess, till Monday, 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. I will double check that. And but we will ping you with the link and with a tutorial that Johann prepared for us yesterday. So I think that's it. If anyone has questions.
Are there any hackers on this call? And if so, like, is there space to give them a forum to just pitch, like 3-sentence pitch of their hack? I'm excited to know what people are working on. I'm excited to know what Johann Barbie is working on. He's always working on something funky. And I see some other people on the call, like Johann, what are you going to work on? You're always working on something funky.
I know this voice. Chris, welcome.
So
Hi, Matteo. Yeah, Johann, what are you doing?
yeah,
I'm good.
So, let me show. So
No, just like quick pitch, elevator pitch, Johann. Come on, quick.
So I want to document the process to do quadratic voting at local hackathons, and I want to publish it on teal.garden, which is a platform where communities can kind of come and find tools and processes and practices that they can implement to.
I want to review. I want to review your documented process of how you do quadratic voting at hackathons. I'm excited to see that. Who else wants to pitch their idea? Sorry for taking over.
No worries.
No, sorry at all. So
we missed you, Chris.
so Chris, the voice you heard is Chris Hopcroft. He's one of the bounty issuers is also our first troll. No, of course, he's a cute troll, and he's one of the bounty issuers. He has a very cool project that involves live peer full stack protocol to create decentralized live streaming assets. And there's a whole description on our website as well as on Discord. He has his own room on Discord, so he's available for anyone who wants to tackle these bounty. Okay, I think that we are pretty done, unless there's further questions, and we can maybe start onboarding. Is there any other question?
I'll move over to the mentoring now to moderate the mentoring, which is starting in 6 minutes.
Ciao,
Yeah, we'll
ciao,
move
Mike.
with you and Jacopo and
Okay.
the mentoring. And the other ones, you can also go to Discord. Like, I think this is gonna be really like where the most hacking and cool stuff happen. So see you there.
Hey, just want to take this opportunity. Anyone involved in like setting all this stuff up? Amazing job. Like, we're under lockdown everywhere, but like we're actually going to make this thing happen. So bravo.
Yeah, on the exact dates. So
How's in India? Where exactly are you, Chris? He left.
Cut his connection. Somebody
Yes,
cut his
wrong
connection.
question. Wrong question. Okay, I would say
Matteo, we are moving in the mentoring live stream.
perfect. So everyone who wants to attend Ethereum Italia's mentor ring right now in the mentors ring, please do. Sorry, someone wrote me dude and I wasn't due. What will you talk about, Leonardo?
We will talk about the Ethereum community in general and in Italy, and our experience since the beginning, because we are created the Ethereum Italian community since the white paper. So a lot of experience about community in Ethereum and in general in Ethereum.
That's
awesome.
really cool.
I'll do an intro. I'll move with you guys. So
Okay, you.
Okay. Perfect. Then I can say that that's basically it. And we can start maybe, we are 4 minutes away from the first talk. And let me see what other can be said. Okay, let's just quickly skip through our partners one more time and thank them for their support. So I can also maybe share my screen and show you. So I would like to remember that this hackathon was made with the patronage of the Polytechnic University of Turin, the University of Studies of Turin, the Torino Wireless Foundation, our media partners who helped us spread the message are Nesta Italia, the Blockchain Council from Milan, TopX Consortium, the AESM, the Italian Association for Marketing Development, also based in Milan, Nifties, which is a cool new webzine about NFTs, and crypto news from India's. Event partners, Ethereum Foundation, who recently helped us with nice grant that goes to our main track prize pool. Of course, the sweet guys from the Aura, Noncon and Interspace, Ethereum Italia, Mintbase for the NFTs. This guy is basically me, myself. I just put my logo. Radical Exchange, of course, for helping us with the literature material on quadratic voting, etc. Legal Hackers Turin, a big thank, a big shout out for. They will have basically two slots during the conference, one on public administration and token model reception, and a mentor slot tomorrow at 10 a.m. DeFi, Italy, Emiliano and Simone Conti. Open Azienda, the guys from Sardinia who basically are launching the project on urban gardening. Pepo, of course, and Amazix, who basically is a startup that takes care of community building for dApps. And they will have a few of their members holding talks during these 2 days of conference. That's basically it. And I would, at this point,